What if your eyelashes froze shut every time you blinked? In Oymyakon, the coldest inhabited place on Earth, this isn't just a hypothetical scenario, it's daily life. At 60° Earth, simple tasks become Herculean efforts. Imagine struggling to breathe as the air freezes your lungs, or watching your skin crack from the extreme cold. This is the reality for those who call this Siberian village home. In Oymyakon, the day begins long before the sun rises. As temperatures plummet to their lowest, residents like Yelena Bataeva stir in the pitch-black darkness of their homes. The air inside is barely warmer than the frigid outdoors, and every movement is a battle against the cold that seeps through walls and windows. Yelena's first task is one familiar to many, starting her car. But in Oymyakon, this simple act becomes a monumental challenge. Despite leaving the engine running all night, a necessity to prevent the oil from freezing solid, the vehicle groans in protest. The metal contracts in the extreme cold, making every component stiff and uncooperative. Yelena coaxes the engine to life, a process that can take up to 30 minutes of patient persistence. As she waits for her car to warm up, Yelena tackles other everyday tasks that have been transformed by the brutal cold. Brushing teeth becomes an exercise in patience, as toothpaste freezes solid. Showering is a luxury reserved for warmer days, as pipes often freeze and burst in these temperatures. Even dressing requires strategy. Layers upon layers of specially designed cold weather gear are essential for survival. The human body wasn't designed for such extreme conditions. At 60°C, exposed skin can freeze in less than a minute. The body diverts blood flow from extremities to protect vital organs, increasing the risk of frostbite. Breathing becomes laborious as the frigid air irritates lung tissue. The cold even affects cognitive function, slowing reaction times and impairing decision-making. A dangerous combination when every choice could be the difference between life and death. As Yelena prepares for her first outdoor task of the day, gathering firewood, she knows the risks all too well. The simple act of stepping outside requires mental preparation. Will today be the day her eyelashes freeze shut? Will she manage to avoid slipping on the treacherous ice that coats every surface? Yet remarkably, Oymyakon's residents have adapted to these harsh conditions. Generations of experience have honed their survival skills. They've developed unique techniques for everything from food preservation to home insulation. Community bonds are strong, with neighbors looking out for each other in this unforgiving environment. With the dawn barely breaking, Yelena steels herself for a task that would seem trivial anywhere else, collecting water. But in Oymyakon, this simple act becomes a dangerous expedition. What does it take to quench your thirst when nature itself seems determined to deny you? In this Siberian village, access to water is a daily struggle that pushes residents to their limits. The extreme cold transforms rivers into solid highways of ice, and underground pipes snap like brittle twigs under the relentless frost. Yelena and her neighbors must venture out to local springs or rivers, their only reliable water sources in this frozen landscape. The journey itself is treacherous. Yelena carefully picks her way across ice-slick paths, each step a potential slip that could leave her injured and exposed to the deadly cold. As she reaches the water source, the real challenge begins. A thick layer of ice, sometimes over a meter deep, stands between her and the precious liquid below. Breaking through this icy barrier is no small feat. Yelena wields an ice pick with practiced precision, chipping away at the frozen surface. It's a labor-intensive process that leaves her breathless in the frigid air. One wrong move could send her plunging into the icy water below, a potentially fatal mistake in temperatures that can freeze exposed skin in under a minute. The extreme cold doesn't just make gathering water difficult, it wreaks havoc on the entire water infrastructure. Pipes freeze and burst with alarming regularity, leaving entire sections of the village without a reliable supply. This constant threat forces residents to be innovative, developing techniques to insulate their water lines and storage containers against the unrelenting chill. As Yelena works, she remains acutely aware of the clock ticking against her. Every moment spent outside increases the risk of frostbite or hypothermia. The water she manages to collect must be transported quickly before it freezes solid in its container. Yet in the face of these daunting challenges, the spirit of community shines through. Neighbors take turns breaking through the ice, sharing the burden of this essential task. They exchange tips on the safest routes to water sources and the most effective tools for the job. This cooperation isn't just helpful, it's often the difference between success and failure in Oymyakon's harsh environment. Yelena's stomach growls as she sets aside her hard-won water. In Oymyakon, even the simple act of preparing a meal becomes a battle against nature itself. How do residents manage to keep food from freezing solid on their plates in a place where temperatures regularly plummet to 60 degrees C? In this Siberian village, the entire outdoors functions as a massive freezer, making traditional food preservation both a necessity and a challenge. Residents rely heavily on methods like freezing, drying, and smoking to ensure their food remains edible throughout the long winter months. But even these time-tested techniques are pushed to their limits in Oymyakon's extreme cold. The harsh climate severely limits the variety of food available. Staples like fish, poultry, mushrooms, berries, and honey form the backbone of the local diet. These high-calorie foods are essential for survival in sub-zero temperatures. Did you know that residents of Oymyakon need to consume up to 4,000 calories per day during winter months just to maintain body heat and energy levels? That's nearly twice the recommended daily intake for an average adult in milder climates. Food supply chains in Oymyakon face enormous challenges. The extreme weather makes transportation of goods a daunting task. Many residents like Yelena rely on local hunting and fishing during the brief summer months to stockpile food for the winter. Imagine spending your entire summer preparing for months of isolation and cold. To adapt to their unforgiving environment, Oymyakon's residents have developed innovative cooking techniques. Wood-burning stoves are a common sight in kitchens, serving the dual purpose of providing heat and allowing for the preparation of hearty meals. These stoves are often kept burning throughout the day, becoming the warm heart of each home. Over generations, the local cuisine has evolved to meet the demands of the environment. Dishes like shay, a hearty soup made with potatoes and meat, have become staples that help ward off the cold and provide necessary nutrition. These warming, calorie-dense meals are not just food, they're fuel for survival in one of the world's most challenging climates. Imagine racing against the clock each day, knowing that as soon as the sun disappears, you'll be plunged into a world of ice and darkness. Welcome to life after sunset in Oymyakon, where residents face their ultimate test every single night. As the sun dips below the horizon, temperatures in Oymyakon plummet at an alarming rate. The already frigid air becomes even more punishing, creating a race against time for residents to complete their outdoor tasks. Yelena and her neighbors scramble to finish chopping wood, tending to livestock, or making last-minute repairs before the darkness engulfs them. Every minute spent outside increases the risk of frostbite and hypothermia. Once inside, the battle against the cold continues. Oymyakon homes are heavily insulated fortresses, designed to trap every bit of precious heat. Wood-burning stoves become the heart of each household, requiring constant attention to maintain a livable temperature. Families huddle close to these heat sources, their warmth a stark contrast to the bitter cold just beyond their walls. The psychological toll of Oymyakon's long, dark winters is immense. Imagine months of near-total darkness, where the sun barely peaks above the horizon for a few hours each day. This lack of sunlight can lead to feelings of isolation and depression, making mental resilience just as crucial as physical endurance in this harsh environment. Yet, even in the face of these extreme conditions, Oymyakon residents find ways to create moments of joy and connection. As night falls, the community comes alive in a different way. Neighbors gather in communal spaces, sharing stories and laughter around roaring fires. These social bonds are more than just pleasant diversions. They're a vital lifeline, helping residents combat the psychological effects of isolation during the dark months. Traditional activities like ice fishing, crafting, and storytelling take on new significance during these long nights. They're not just pastimes, but ways to preserve cultural heritage and maintain a sense of normalcy in an environment that's anything but normal. The warmth of human connection becomes a powerful antidote to the cold outside, creating a unique form of resilience that has allowed Oymyakon's people to thrive for generations. As residents settle in for another long night, there's an underlying awareness that nature isn't done testing them yet. The threat of sudden blizzards or even more extreme temperature drops looms large. In Oymyakon, the weather can change in an instant, turning an already challenging situation into a potential disaster. How do these hardy people prepare for the unexpected in a place where the unexpected is the norm? The resilience of Oymyakon's residents is truly remarkable. In the face of temperatures that can freeze eyelashes and turn breath into ice crystals, these hardy people have not just survived, but thrived. Their ability to adapt to such extreme extreme conditions speaks volumes about human ingenuity and determination. Life in Oymyakon demonstrates how harsh environments can forge strong communities. The challenges of gathering water, preserving food, and maintaining warmth have created a tight-knit society where cooperation isn't just beneficial, it's essential for survival. This interdependence has fostered a unique culture built on mutual support and shared knowledge passed down through generations.